Welcome to How to Maintain Your Member Files. In this training, we'll be discussing the standard operating procedures to assure that your member files are in compliance. So a lot of this is going to seem pretty obvious at first, but there are things within maintaining paperwork that there's little details that can be easily overlooked. So as you're listening to this, please take note of all the little tips and little tidbit of information to help assure that your records are well maintained and are impeccable. So let's first talk about Section 1 and the member name. So as you can probably guess, this seems pretty obvious, just writing down the name. However, please pay attention and know that the member's name needs to stay consistent on all the paperwork, and their name needs to be recorded as it appears on their Social Security card. So there's times that maybe an applicant has a nickname and they just write or sign all their documentations using their nickname, and then if you are using that too when you go to enroll them on eGrants or they go to the MyAmeriCorps, it's not consistent with what's on their Social Security card, and it can cause issues. There's also instances where a member maybe has two last names and they maybe drop one of their last names as it appears on their Social Security card, so that can be another hiccup in your paperwork. So as good practice, please make sure you're using the legal name as it appears on their Social Security card. Obviously, if there's a middle initial or a middle name, you don't need to worry about that. What we're most concerned about is their first and last name. All right, let's talk about their terms of service. In our program, where it's 300 minimum time hours, they can serve up to 4 terms. If you are hiring somebody who is familiar with AmeriCorps, or say that they have served in another AmeriCorps program, please get the details about their service. If they have served a full year in another program, they are only eligible to serve 2 additional years in our program. So please double check that. The service years are listed to just help provide quick and easy reference. There have been instances in our program where we had a member as a high school student who served year 1. They then go off to college and they come back 2 to 3 years later and they want to serve again. And so just helping to track their years exactly when they served is very helpful, especially when and if you're in an audit and you've got to go back and track their original paperwork. It's just easier if you have their years documented in which they have served. The start date, this is the date that they begin counting their training and or service hours for your program. This is very important to keep note of because AmeriCorps requires that they have to be fully enrolled into eGrants within 30 calendar days of their start date. So let me emphasize that again. It's calendar days, 30 days in the calendar. They're not business days, which means Monday through Friday. So for their purposes, a calendar day includes any weekends or holidays. So all paperwork and enrolled member needs to be enrolled within 30 calendar days. Let's talk now about all of the actual paperwork forms. The first is the member application. In the case of Putnam City, our employees are required to do an online application through the Talent Ed Recruit and Hire website. For our members, they also are required to go through this same procedure, and so you will copy their member application from that website, and that's what is put in their paperwork. The W-4 form, once again, this is pretty straightforward, but do keep in mind that you are using the most current tax year form. Don't use a form from last year. And on number 3, the copy of a government-issued photo ID. This can be a driver's license, a learner's permit, or it could be a passport. A student ID does not count. So if you have a member who does not have a driver's license, a learner's permit, or a passport, they will need to be advised to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, where they will be able to be issued a state identification card. This will be out of pocket in terms of what the fee that they have to pay to have that processed. And please make sure that your members know that it may require a little waiting in line in order to get that photo ID issued. It cannot be done through a tag agency. It can only be done at the DMV. The copy of a Social Security card, when you receive this, please make sure it is valid and it looks legit. Once again, also make sure that the name as it appears on the Social Security card is what the member is writing in all of their paperwork. Number 6, the signed member contract. Out of best practice, I would make sure that that this is signed before their actual start of training and or service. That's just one of the rules that AmeriCorps has. So best practice, get it done before. Don't wait to the start date of service to get it done. Also pay attention and know that the member, if they're 17 years old, they have to have a parent sign off on this also. In terms of the member position description, that's something that comes straight off of our Talent, Recruit, and Hire website that explains their details of the position that they are applying for. Number 8, the high school diploma publicity release and loan forbearance. Once again, there's this is pretty straightforward. Just make sure everything is circled and dated and signed correctly. And then finally, the parental consent if member is under 18 years old. Out of best practice, it doesn't matter whether the member is 50 or 17. I have everybody sign this form and it's included in the paperwork. And obviously if they are 17, the parent does have to sign off on that.